Imagine standing in the middle of the Sahara Desert, a vast, endless ocean of sand. The heat is unbearable. The dunes stretch as far as the eye can see, and the landscapes seems lifeless. At least that's what we have been told. But what if I told you that beneath these dunes lies something else? Something ancient, something lost. Recent satellite scans have uncovered massive underground rivers, buried ruins, and structures that defy explanation. Some researchers believe that a forgotten civilization, perhaps older than the world's first known cities, could still be hidden beneath the sand. And then there's the Richat structure, also known as the Eye of Sahara, a massive, bizarre geological formation that by sheer coincidence, or perhaps by design, matches Plato's description of Atlantis almost perfectly. Could this be the lost city that historians have searched for centuries? But an even bigger mystery remains: how did this land, once lush and full of life, become the most inhospitable desert on Earth? Was it slow natural shift, or did something else happen? If the truth is buried beneath the sands of Sahara, it could rewrite everything we thought know about human history. Believe it or not, 10,000 years ago, the Sahara wasn't a desert at all. It was a lush paradise filled with lakes, rivers, and forests. Elephants, giraffes, even crocodiles thrived in landscape teeming with life. But the most shocking discovery: humans lived here too. Ancient cave paintings and petroglyphs found deep in the desert depict something astonishing. People swimming, animals that no longer exist in the region, and strange humanoid figures. Some even show what appears to be a star map and celestial symbols. And then there's the megalithic structures, some thousands of years older than the Egyptian pyramids, scattered across the Sahara. What civilization built them, and why? The real question is, what happened to them? Around 5,000 years ago, the Sahara underwent a dramatic transformation. The rains stopped, the rivers vanished, the forests turned to dust, and once the thriving land became a wasteland of endless sand. But here's the strange part: this wasn't a slow process. It happened suddenly. Geological and climate shifts usually take thousands of years to reshape landscapes. Yet the Sahara transformed within a fraction of the time. Why? One theory suggests that a massive solar event altered the planet's climate, disrupting rainfall patterns and triggering an environmental collapse. Another points to the possibility of a cosmic impact, similar to the Younger Dryas event, which wiped out entire ecosystem in a near instant. Could such an event have transformed the Sahara from a paradise into a wasteland? And then there are the ancient legends. Many ancient cultures speak of a great war, one that left scars on Earth itself. In Hindu history, the Mahabharata, written over 5,500 years ago, describes a cataclysmic war where devastating weapons known as astras were unleashed. They weren't ordinary weapons. They burned with power of 1,000 suns, leveling entire cities in an instant. The descriptions are eerily similar to modern nuclear explosions. Blinding flashes, towering firestorms, and lands so poisoned that nothing could grow for centuries. Could a war of this scale have triggered the Sahara's sudden transformation? And then there are the Anunnakis, the so-called sky god of Sumerian history. Ancient texts hint at conflicts among these gods, battles fought with defying fire and aerial crafts. Is it possible that Sahara holds the remnants of a lost civilization, one destroyed in a war so great that it altered the very landscape? If true, could part of that lost world still exist beneath the sand? Now, before we go any further, let me warn you. What we are uncovering today might be too dangerous for mainstream history. In fact, if you suddenly hear a knock on your door from official sources after watching this video, just know you were never supposed to see this. And if this channel mysteriously disappears tomorrow, just remember, subscribe now before they find out. Because let's be real, if history books can get away with ignoring entire civilizations, the least you can do is not ignore this channel. Deep in the heart of Mauritania, hidden beneath the desert's scorching heat, lies something bizarre. A massive circular structure nearly 50 kilometers wide. It's called the Richat structure, but many know it by another name, the Eye of the Sahara. For years, geologists dismissed it as a natural formation, the result of erosion over millions of years. But then, someone noticed something strange. Plato's description of Atlantis, written over 2000 years ago, describes a great city designed with concentric rings of water and land. It had a central island, surrounded by alternating bands of water and walls, all built to precise proportions. Now look at the Richat structure. The size, the shape, the pattern, it matches almost too perfectly. Coincidence? Maybe. But the mystery doesn't end here. Ancient maps drawn before the satellites existed depicted this exact region as a massive seaport, not an endless desert. Some historians believe that the Sahara wasn't just green thousands of years ago. It was connected to the ocean. And then there's the geology. The official explanation says the Richat structure was formed naturally, but some experts argue that certain features suggest artificial modification. The elevated ridges, the smooth channels, the near-perfect circular outline, all seems too precise to be accidental. But here's where it gets even stranger. Artifacts have been discovered near the site. Tools, carvings, even objects that suggest trade with ancient Egypt. If this place was nothing but rock and sand, how did those artifacts get here? And most importantly, why has no serious excavation ever been done here? Could this be the remnant of a lost super civilization? Could the Sahara be hiding one of history's greatest secrets? And if so, why is nobody talking about it? Scattered across the Sahara are ruins that shouldn't exist. Giant stone monolithic rise from the sand. Their origins unknown. Hidden beneath the dunes, traces of ancient roads and advanced irrigation systems suggest the presence of a civilization far older and far more sophisticated than history tells us. One such civilization was the Gramantes, an ancient people who thrived in what is now Libya. According to mainstream archaeology, they were a small tribal community. But what if there was something more? The Gramantes built massive underground tunnels, a vast network of water channels known as forests, allowing them to survive in one of the most arid places on Earth. But here's the strange part. These tunnels stretch for hundreds of miles, carved deep into the ground. Some researchers argue that such engineering would have required knowledge far beyond what conventional history attributes to them. Could they have inherited this technology from a more older civilization? And then there is Tichet Volta, a lost settlement in Mauritania. Built over 4,000 years ago, this ancient city was made entirely of stone, featuring circular structures that hint at complex urban planning. But these weren't just primitive dwellings. Some of the formations appear aligned with celestial patterns, much like the stone circle of Nabta Playa, often referred to as Africa's Stonehenge. Even deeper in the desert, strange structures have been uncovered. Some resemble pyramids, others look like fortresses, and some remain completely unclassified. Were these the remnants of a lost empire, a forgotten dynasty erased by time, or could they be something more extraordinary? If this was once a thriving land, then the biggest question remains. What happened to the people who lived here? Did they migrate? Did they vanish? Or were they wiped out by something far greater? History tells us that these civilizations simply died out, that their cities crumbled, their people vanished, and the Sahara swallowed whatever remained. But is that really true? Some researchers believe that when the Sahara began to dry, waves of migration reshaped human civilization. One theory suggests that these lost people traveled east, settling along the Nile River, where the knowledge of agriculture, irrigation, and stone building may have influenced early Egyptian civilization. Could the great pharaohs of Egypt have been the distant descendants of a forgotten Saharan kingdom? Others may have moved west, crossing the continent and forming the early African kingdoms that would rise centuries later. There are oral traditions among certain Western tribes that speak of an ancient land swallowed by sand, a home their ancestors were forced to leave behind. But what if some never truly left? What if traces of their knowledge, their culture, their cities are still hidden beneath the sand, waiting to be uncovered? And here's where the things got even stranger. Some scientists believe the Sahara will turn green again. It sounds impossible, but it has happened before. Geological records show that Sahara isn't always a desert. Every few thousand years, a shift in the Earth's orbit triggers a change in rainfall pattern. When that happens, the desert transforms, turning back into a vast grassland full of lakes, rivers, and forests. And according to some experts, we are due for another transformation. If that happens, what else will be revealed? Will we uncover lost cities, buried temples, and forgotten civilizations, one that history never recorded? Will the secrets of the past finally emerge from the sand? Or will we find something we were never meant to see? If you think this is the end of the mystery, think again. Because we have tried to pinpoint the location of Atlantis. To know more, check out this video. This is Harry signing off. Stay curious.